my mother taught me one thing, that if I do something, I must do it with perfection. Whether it's a small thing or a big thing. For the fact that I am doing it, it needs to be of perfection.
Yeah.
Understand? You need to put your love into it. I need to say, Nkululeko, when he eats my scones, he needs to feel the love that I put inside.
Nkululeko on Cultr.
Hello and welcome to yet another episode of Nkululeko on Cultr. Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you very much for subscribing, liking, and commenting on their content. Today we have a very, very special guest. In fact, it's probably my youngest guest ever. His name is Musa Sono. He runs his business with his mother and, of course, members of his family. They are operating in Soweto. He'll tell us a story about exactly what do they sell, how much money do they make, where do they come from, and so on and so forth. So this is might be a short interview because of the nature of the guest. It's still young, but we'll get deep into perhaps the nature of the business as well. Musa, thank you very much for joining us. So how are you?
I'm good, thanks, in yourself.
I'm good, thank you, man. I thought a 17-year-old would be in school. Why are you not at school at this time?
I choose to balance my life between business and school. So growing up, I had an urge to do business, understand? And I just looked around how our world lives and how the education system only gives theory to our people and less of practical skills. And many people graduate from school but are still jobless because they lack skill. So I decided to balance between school and business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What does it mean on a day-to-day basis? Does it mean you wake up sometimes and go to school, or you wake up sometimes and help your mother with the business?
Well, now as the business is up and running, we actually have employees now. But at the beginning of the business, I would bake and then go to school after, because I did online school at some point in my life. So yes.
Yeah, so your family allowed you all of this? Like your brother allowed you, or your father or your mother allowed you to be able to say, let me park school for a moment and help business?
Yes, but they did not approve me letting go of school completely. They wanted me to have a balanced life in between, because should anything happen in this world, perhaps God decides to take them, I'll have a skill that I'll be able to survive with. You understand?
Yeah, you're 17 now, but when did you start having these thoughts of making money and stuff like that? When did you, before the bakery business, which we'll get into in a moment, what was your first thing that you innovated and started doing? Maybe you sold amagwenya to your friends. What did you do, and how old were you at the time?
So in terms of business, I would just actually look at my mother and my father before I actually started. And my mother is a person who pushes in life. So she'll try this business, try that business, try this business, as well as my other sisters. And then growing up in that kind of environment allowed me to be able to think, understand? And it got to a point where at age 12, I bought pigs. We were supposed to go on a vacation, and I asked my mother to give me a share of what I was going to get there. And I wanted to go start a farming business. So I went with my brother and we went to Limpopo. And when I got there, I bought pigs. And I wanted to start farming pigs. So that's how I started, And along the way, I got to learn, how to deal with losses. Because even at that time, I actually bought 2 pigs, and then they grew and there were like 12 of them. And then there were some village dogs that were preying on livestock around the village, and they ate my pigs. See, so it was a big blow, but I still wanted to push. I still had the edge to do business.
Do you remember how much your mother gave you for the vacation?
Yes,
you
I remember.
Capital?
Yes,
how much
I remember. It was 1.8. In that 1.8, I took 800 and I fixed a place for them to stay. And me alongside my brother, we built the place and it looked nice. and then I took 500 and I bought 2 young piglets, and they grew and they gave birth.
Do you remember how much it used to cost you to maintain them, to feed them?
Yes, actually. So I would take I have an allowance, so I would take some of that allowance and deposit it that side so that I could buy pig feed. You understand? So I would send around 200 every month and supplement with cabbages that were planted at the farm.
Yeah, that's interesting. And you were helped by family, whoever was your landlord where you housed the pigs was a family connection, and you guys were still in Joburg.
Yes. So my grandfather, he had a farm in Limpopo. So that's where my livestock was. Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. And of course, you never sold any of them. You never made money because they were unfortunately preyed on by the dogs.
Yes.
All of them.
Yes, all of them.
Yes. So how did you feel about that?
It was actually very discouraging, because when I think of how much I put in, and my relationship, I love animals, so it was heartbreaking, because I sacrificed what I had for that. Then it just went away so easily.
Yeah.
Understand? Yeah.
And you were 12, 13, 14 around the time?
Yes, around that
Yeah.
time.
Do you remember your next business then before? Was there any other thing that you endeavored on before the bakery?
Before the bakery, we would actually, I and my cousin, we would do Forex. I think most people have tried that.
Yeah.
And so I was so interested also in the market. You'd learn how to invest in the market. You put in money, you make money. Sometimes you blow your account, you get discouraged, you wait a little, you make a little bit of money, then so it was that thing, and until the bakery came into mind.
Yeah. And who taught you money? You saying you were observing your mother hustling, starting businesses.
Yes.
So you then would have been able to handle money from a very young age.
Yes.
Do you remember when you were 7 and 10, how much allowance you will be given, and how did you feel about spending it, and how were you spending it?
Yeah, so allowance was, I was actually, in terms of allowance, my mother would give me money, and she would give me money for the week, and she would tell me that this must last you for the whole week. So then that channeled me to invest this money in places that I need. Understand? Not because I want things. I need to use money for what I need.
So you never played these things with money?
Not really.
I played these things with money. It was only 5 bob, this thing.
Not really. Nkululeko, so we never had this.
No, but Ekas is corn. This is a 5 bob.
Like etopsy aziko. Etopsy, we don't.
You don't remember your brothers here. You don't remember playing these games in your 50 cent.
For me, I do. Unfortunately for him, man, where we grow up, man, we actually stay far away from,
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But in your generation, you can.
Yes, of course.
Yeah. Okay. There you go. So in my generation as well, we used to play games with this. Yeah. So you would then have to ration that allowance through 7 days.
Yes.
Yeah. And it never shocked you, like maybe you have 500 and you're still a kid. It never really gave you that thing of, because some people, when they get the money, they tatazel.
Yeah.
They don't know what to do with the money.
Yeah, because you see, I'm actually grateful for how I was given money and how I started, using the money responsibly. Because what happens is, the first thing as a kid you think of, I remember for the first few times I started getting allowance, I'd buy sweets for my friends, and then during the week I'll go and ask for other money, and she'll be like, no, I gave you money. And then you are hungry for the whole week. Next week you won't repeat the same mistake.
Yeah.
Because you know what happened then. You understand? So it was that kind of a thing.
Yeah. And where do you guys come from? Which castle do you come from?
Dobsonville.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
And you grew up there with your mother and father?
Yes, until age 10. Then we moved to Rodiport. Yeah. Yeah, we moved to the flats there in Rodiport.
Yeah. And how would you describe your family life? When I was 17, I would have thought that I was smart, but it's impossible that I would have sounded like you. You sound very level-headed. How was your family life? you're still even a child now. I can't even ask you how was your childhood, but you sound like you come from a stable family life.
Yeah, I would say my parents try their best to provide for my needs and my siblings' needs. And my mother is a giver, so she would take people in, and live with them. And at that age, I had to learn to share her with other people, So I knew that her and my father would give other people attention before us first, and then we come second. So by God's grace, we got that understanding, So yeah, that's my childhood. I grew up around people. I love people, I grew up around people from different families, with different characters. You understand? You learn to live with them.
Yeah. What were the circumstances? What was the conversation that led you to now then the business that you're doing? The bakery. Who said what to whom about the bakery?
So the bakery actually started like this. My mother she used to say during her school times, they would buy school buns. You understand? During winter. I remember it was during COVID. At that time, things were very hard. You understand? And we needed to think of a break, like something that would maintain us through COVID, because many businesses fell during that time.
Yeah.
So one thing I'm also grateful for is that my parents included me in terms of the financials of the house. So we would talk about things. Now it's this and this and this. Let's all sit and think, what's the way forward? So she would bake school buns, and then we would sell. And then winter came to an end, and we needed to think of something that would sell season in and season out, which was scones. So we started baking scones, and then she taught me how to bake scones. Then I would bake scones. And then, as I had said before, that's when I decided to leave school, like 7 to, I decided to leave school then and then do online schooling. Understand? So I knew that from 8 until 1, I would go to school. And then from 1 o'clock until 6, 7, or 8, I would be baking. Then the remainder of the time, I would be studying. Understand? So yeah, that's how the bakery started with scones. We used to bake at the house. So it would be matters of we would make maybe 100 scones. 100 scones, yes. 100 packets of scones. And in each packet, there's 4 scones. So the tray that we used to bake with would only take, would only take 7 packets. So to make 100 scones, it was a lot of work.
How many hours would you put one pack in the oven?
One pack, no. In a tray.
In the tray, yeah.
It's 7 packets.
Yeah. So, and how many hours would you? 45 minutes would you wait in the oven?
Yeah.
And then you would if you have 100, you would then wait it out for 8 different times.
Yes. And during that time, I have to mix another batch. Understand? I have to mix and then cut and put into the oven. Then I offload on the table, wait for them to cool down, then tie them.
Yeah. And was it an encouraging profit that you would be making, if you can remember from the time?
Yes, actually.
Yeah.
It
just break down for us. How much would it cost to you guys, if you can remember, and then how much would you make in profit?
So we would usually stock. Well, when we started, it started small. We would buy self-raisings, which was a packet of 10. So packet of 10 would be 180 rand, if I'm not mistaken. 180 rand. Then you have flour, and then you have sugar. So maybe 2,000, 3,000 when we started. And the revenue would be something 5,000. Understand? So it started off like that.
Yeah. And that's encouraging. Tell us about the bakery then. Do you have a bakery, and where is it? Are you selling to shops like Pick n Pay and ShopRite, or are you selling over the counter to your customers who are
So the bakery, with the money that we made, we managed to buy a stove because we needed to reinvest in the business.
Obviously, you have to always reinvest. Yeah.
So we managed to buy one stove, and then we decided to produce on a large scale now because
Yeah.
there was a lot of demand of these scones.
How are you getting the word out there, actually? Maybe that's an important question. How are people knowing about you at that time?
So we would go and ask people to sell scones for us, and then you'd make commission. So that's how we started growing. So one would stand at the corner there, one would stand at the corner there. They inquire, they love our service. Because one thing we love is priding ourselves in what we do. Understand? My mother taught me one thing, that if I do something, I must do it with perfection. Whether it's a small thing or a big thing. For the fact that I am doing it, it needs to be of perfection.
Yeah.
Understand? You need to put your love into it. I need to say, Nkululeko, when he eats my scones, he needs to feel the love that I put inside this.
And at the time you were packaging it at a basic level, there was no branding?
No, there was no branding. You understand? So it was that. So now we moved the business to our old home in Dobsonville. So we bought a stove. We started baking there. I had to go back to school this year. So the bakery, the scones, started last year after the school bans. So yeah, that's how the bakery started.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the question is about now. How do your customers access it? Do they go to the bakery to buy at your old house in Dobsonville, or you supply for local malls and local sellers or local shops?
So yeah, I didn't answer that.
Sure, no, it's all good. It's all good.
So you can come to the house and buy scones, but most of our customers come from people who our resellers. So we have people that we hire that go with scones and stand at the robots, things like that, and sell for us.
Yeah.
So most of our customer base is based on.
And you're not selling Boroto?
We used to bake bread.
Yeah.
But we had a problem of we still trying to find the proper what can I say? The proper suppliers for the ingredients for the bread, because we had an alternative, but the alternative was of low quality, and we cannot damage our brand like that, because I believe this thing needs to be passed down to my children and my grandchildren, and it needs to start with a proper foundation. Understand? So yeah.
This is very interesting, and it enabled your mom to not work. A lot of your family members to not work. Now you're focusing on it, so that means you're generating enough capital to be able to pay people.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
How big is the operation now? Take us through the number of people typically that will be working there on a day-to-day basis.
So we have a baker, 2 bakers, and then now we have a packer, a person who actually packages the scones. So they work. It's the 3 of them, and then we also have, as I've said, people who sell at the robots, and then we give them a commission. So maybe when you sell 20 scones, 20 packets of scones, I give you 70 rand. Understand? So if you sell 20 scones every day, so it's 70 times 5. So you can make a good living out of that. And I get enough money for profit as well as to restock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what's your role in it, as you mention yourself? Like, are you more on the financial side and everyone else is on the operational side? What's your role currently? I know you said you've gone back to school.
Yes.
But how do you help out now?
How I help out now is I manage the people who sell and just oversee.
So you communicate with them.
Yes.
Find out how much they're making.
Yes.
And whether or not they are bringing what they're supposed to be bringing back.
Yes.
Yeah.
And also the bakery, if it's clean and things like that, how they do things. Understand? You need to be there. So I travel often.
Do you pay yourself a salary?
No.
Why not?
I don't need a salary right now, because as I've said, this thing is going big. You understand? It's not yet time to cut the cake yet. Understand? It's not yet ready. You see, if I know now that I'm supplying big resellers, then perhaps I can say now it's my time to get the share. But for now, we're still building a brand. Understand? We're still growing.
Yeah. Would you be happy in this interview if we leave your numbers throughout the interview? Like literally on the video, people can get your number and the name of the company.
Yes, sure.
Okay, cool. Okay, we get your consent. And your brother, you agree?
Yeah, yes.
Okay, thank you so much. We got the adults' consent as well. That people can, if they are in and around Dobsonville and they want to do business with you, they can contact you directly. Tell us about your mother then. She doesn't have to do anything anymore. She just focuses on that.
Yes.
How important is her to the operation?
She's very important because my mother is a creative person. So, and she comes with solutions, because sometimes we encounter problems. So she's one person. She's prayerful. So she'll go to. I know God favors her, so she will go and pray, and she's actually our, what can I say? She's our middleman between us and God, because in everything we do, we need God's favor, as we are a very strong Christian family.
Yeah. And you're able to look at the business's finances yourself, and you are able to see, oh, this could be dangerous because we're spending more than we are making.
Yes.
Are you now at that level where you're experienced enough to help out in that sense?
Yes. I suggest that we cut down on some prices or some things that, like, maybe chowing on our profit. Understand? But I'm also still learning in that area. But yeah, I do that sometimes.
What grade are you now? You said you're going back to school this year.
Yeah.
What grade are you?
I'm in grade 11.
Grade 11. Okay.
Yeah.
And what are you doing? Commercial subjects or physics and maths?
Commercial subjects.
Okay. And what do you want to do? Do you think you're going to put all your eggs in one basket, do commercial subjects, learn maybe accounting, and then take that knowledge and then apply it on the business? You have no other ambition of doing maybe media or whatever, singing or whatever?
Honestly, no. I'm a business-minded person, and I would find it hard to work for another person.
Yeah.
Understand? I'm that type. So I believe in building generational wealth. And I believe by getting a job, you can't do that, because you cannot leave your children a certificate. Understand? You need to leave them something that will feed them as well. So it's matters of now. After I graduate from high school, already now, my mother has assisted me to buy goats. So we have goats in Bramfisher. So after that grows, I know while I'm investing, while I'm at school, my plan is by the age of 30, perhaps you can call me back for an interview and I'll be a millionaire. Understand? Yes. That's my dream.
I think only 1% in each country, 1% of the population makes their first million by the time that they're 30. And that's a very good goal to have. I don't want to say it's unrealistic, because I understand I know what you're talking about. Your goal, I know how it feels like, and I got it at 31. So it's a good target to get yourself to. And yeah, I'll talk to you again when you're 30. You're startling me. Like, I didn't expect some of the things that are coming out of your mouth. But yeah, I'm encouraged. How are you finding school though? Because of course, you are a boss elsewhere, and then someone has to boss you at school. So are you struggling to take instructions? Are you settling in well at school? What kind of kid are you at school? If you're being honest.
If I'm being honest. If I'm being honest, at school, I'm actually I'm a person of people. I don't know, it sounds wrong in English. Ngumuntu wabantu.
I'm a people's person.
People's person. Yes. So yeah, I'm friendly with everyone. I have a good relationship with my teachers. One thing I've learned is that if you want to be a leader, you need to know how to be led. You understand? So it's important, even in a business scenario, you need to be able to establish relationships. Understand? You need to be able to study people. So at school, you have people who are of higher authority, and you need to respect that, because at some point I'm gonna be at higher authority, and I'll want people to respect me.
Yeah, and listen to you.
Understand? Exactly. So sometimes you have to listen more and talk less. Understand? It's always good to listen and hear other people's opinions. Understand? So also listen to the words of the wise, which are the older people. Understand? So I'm that type of a person. I'm very respectful, I have to say. So yeah, but even though I don't agree with some of the curriculum,
Yeah.
I try.
I'm sure you're gonna have a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, you already are proving that you are more advanced than some of the curriculum. Like, if someone is trying to restrict you to learn something that you see as trivial, you've already applied it in real life. I'm sure you might find it difficult to learn. Like, if someone is teaching you money and it's like, but I know this. Like, this is the theoretical aspect of it. I already know this. I already know how the banking works. I already know what bank charges are. You're teaching me theory, and you might struggle with that. But I understand, as you say, you need to humble yourself, be able to listen. Okay, let's wrap it up then. Next 5 years for you. I know it's a difficult question. In 5 years' time, you'll be 22. Hopefully, when you're 22, what are you doing?
By the time I'm 22, I see this bakery further. The plan now is to introduce a new product after I find a suitable ingredients and a more affordable ingredients to bake bread. Because when we actually started, we had the demand was high for bread. You understand? Because the quality of what we were selling was amazing. So I intend to get back on that, and then I'll supply Pick and Pay. Those are the people I'm looking at. Understand? Pick and Pay, your restaurants who use baked bread, your Nando's, Barcelos, they use rolls. So
Sure.
I'm looking at approaching those kind of companies. Understand? Because I know with what we have, no matter what, they will take it. The problem is now we have to fix terms of meeting the target, because I know if we take in too much, it might
that will be a problem.
It might overwhelm us.
Yeah.
So we are.
In 5 years' time, you hope to have that resolved.
Yes.
And be trading with those big businesses.
Yes. And
you don't see your house becoming a bakery where people, instead of going to those shops, they can buy maybe 10 rand bread, sliced bread, which is not Sasco, which is not Albany.
Yes.
Albany and Sasco is like 14 rand, 15 rand. Then you provide them with an alternative, 10 rand sliced bread. You don't see that as an opportunity?
It is an opportunity, but in terms of perhaps, you see, we are based in Dobsonville, and you have someone from Reimsig who would like our bread. So we can't go deliver for that one person or 10 people.
For sure.
So if they can access it from Pick and Pay, we're still making a profit. Understand? And yeah, I wanted to answer you in terms of the thing of can I go back to the school?
Sure.
So you know how teachers are. Sometimes I disagree with the fact that they will say they'll say education is the key. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, I want the key to generational wealth, and I don't think it's provided at school, because you look at the people educating you as well. They do not have that. Understand? But it's always, as I've said, you learn from the lowest and the highest. Understand? So that's that,
Don't discourage your classmates.
No, I tell them, I'm like, guys, you must send your CVs, in 5 years' time or 10 years' time. I will be happy to hire you. And you must make sure, even if you guys are watching this interview, you must make sure that you pass well. Because, yeah, I need to be impressed when I look at your CV.
You're going to hire your classmates.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think you might do other stuff as well. I think you're bright enough. you might be intrigued by what you see with the technological advancement. Who knows that you might even create your own social media if that's like your inclination at some point. Of course, this business, you have to help it. You seem to be an important part of it. It's a family business. But I think you're bright enough that you will see at some point that you would like to rival Twitter, WhatsApp, and stuff like that. So, and you might do it with a bunch of schoolmates you meet at varsity, something like that.
Yeah, definitely. Because I do CAT now at school.
It's about technology, CAT. Yes. Break it down to the people. The acronym stands for what?
CAT is computer studies.
Yeah, computer and something technology.
Technology.
CAT.
Yes, CAT. So as we know, guys, technology is the future. Things are moving digital now. Even marketing is more in social medias now. Yeah. You understand? So it's an important skill to have. So I look into achieving that skill of knowing how to, perhaps build social media platforms. Yes, I'd love to do that.
Yeah, you sound like someone who could do that. Of course, it's a technical skill.
Yes.
But maybe you could even sell. If you have a bunch of friends who are more technical and you partner up with them when you are in varsity, maybe you could do something like that as well.
Yeah.
Let that manifest.
Yes.
Last words to your classmates. Give them a shout out. 17-year-old likes to give shout outs. It doesn't appear as though you want to give shout out to your grade 11A.
Shout out guys. Here I am. Your boss is here, don't forget to study. And man. Wear proper school uniform, because that's what I require of you when you come to work. And shout out.
There you go. Thank you very much, guys, for watching us. We hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for liking, commenting, and subscribing on the episode as well. Thank you for watching us. Boom.